Welcome to the Accountancy Learning AAT Sample Paper Debriefs. I'm Sarah, and in this video I'll take you through the Principles of Costing Sample Paper 2 Task 2. Task 2 is all about costing techniques. For Part A, we're asked to identify whether the following statements refer to planning, control or decision making. The act of making a choice based on information received. So we're making a choice, so we're making a decision. So the first one will be decision making. So we've got some information and we're making a decision based on that information. Forecasting at different activity levels. So if we're forecasting at different activity levels, we're seeing what might change if we increase or decrease output. So that means that we are planning, we're trying to make a plan as to what to do. So this is part of our planning process to forecast out at different activity levels. Comparison of budgeted results to actual results. So this is going to be our control. And it's because we're comparing it. So we're having a look to say, well, what's actually happened and was that what we expected to happen? And if not, we can then put in control procedures. So perhaps we need to look at different suppliers to reduce costs, and it helps us with our control of the business. Part B, identify which inventory valuation method best describes the following statements. So we've got to decide between FIFO, LIFO and AVCO. So remember, this is first in, first out. LIFO is last in, first out. And AVCO is the average weighted method. Cost issues using the average inventory price. So we're using average inventory price, so that's going to be our AVCO method. So that's where we take whatever the average is of the total items in stock and the total cost for those items. Then we use that price to value our issues. As purchase price rise, this method gives the highest profit. So as purchase prices rise, it gives the highest profit. So this is going to be first in, first out. Because the prices are rising, it means we're issuing at lower prices. So as the prices get higher, the oldest stock is going first, which is at a lower price. So because it's at a lower price, it's going to increase the profit. It's going to give the highest profit. As purchase price rise, this method gives the highest closing inventory value. So this is where we're going to be looking at what the balance is. So if the purchase prices are rising, we're going to be taking the first stock out. So we're looking at FIFO here because the latest stock is left. So it means that the stock that's left after the issue is at higher prices because they are bought in at a later date, and as it's a later date, the prices are going to be getting higher. So that means the highest stock prices are still left in stock, so therefore that will give the highest closing inventory value. Part C, identify which labour costing method is being used in the following scenarios. So we've got 3 to choose from: time rate plus overtime, piecework and guaranteed minimum payment. So scenario A, production staff are paid for 35 hours per week at £17.50 per hour, and additional time is paid at time and a half. So this is going to be time rate plus overtime, so they get their standard pay and additional at time and a half. Scenario B, production staff are paid £10 for each unit fully completed, with at least £600 being paid at the end of the week. So they're given a piecework rate, but they have a guaranteed payment at the end. So this is going to be the guaranteed minimum payment method, because they get that guaranteed element. We're then told that 58 units were made in the week, taking the full 35 hours. And now we need to calculate the labour cost per unit for each of the scenarios. And we need to remember to round answers to 2 decimal places. We need to make sure we're reading this question carefully, because we're looking for a per unit cost for each scenario. So for scenario A, it takes the full 35 hours. So we're going to have 35 hours and we're going to multiply it by the £17.50 per hour to give us a total cost of £612.50. So this is for a total of 58 units. But we're asked for the cost per unit. So we then need to divide that by 58 to get our per unit cost, which to 2 decimal places is £10.56. Now under scenario B, we're told that they're paid £10 for each unit. We know 58 units were made, which would give them £580. However, they are guaranteed at least 600, so they're actually going to get £600. But again, we're looking for cost per unit, so we then divide the 600 by 58 to get a £10.34 to 2 decimal places cost per unit, which now completes task 2.